Throughout the last few decades, we saw many mixed groups such as Steps, S Club 7, S Club Juniors, Aqua, Liberty X, Black Eyed Peas, N-Dubs, and of course the legend ABBA. However, we've seen a frequent decline of mixed groups as the years go by, practically disappearing from the music industry altogether. So me, the band expert I love to call myself, is going to try and investigate why mixed groups aren't a thing anymore in the Western media, finding out about their downfalls, their capabilities of being able to make a comeback, and how would they revive in a new generation of pop music in the 2020s today. So sit back, relax and enjoy this video. Mixed gendered groups were known for ripping apart the traditional gendered stereotypes whilst promoting equality between men, women and children. These big groups such as Steps, S Club and Liberty X were mostly created on, you guessed it, reality television series such as BBC, Miami 7 and ITV's show Pop Stars. The others were either formed as childhood friends that decided one day to form a band together such as N-Dubs and Black Eyed Peas. So you're thinking, what happened to mixed gendered groups and why they aren't a thing anymore in our current climate? Well folks, I am here to investigate. There are several reasons why mixed groups aren't as popular anymore in the mainstream nowadays, and here are some of the answers I've found out. Target demographics. If you have noticed, both boy bands and girl bands have certain demographics that are marketed towards them. For example, boy bands and girl bands are mostly marketed to teenage girls and LGBTQ audiences. Meanwhile, mixed groups do not have a main target audience to market themselves to, due to the certain preferences towards male and female performances. S Club 7 and the rest of the S Club groups, because there were so many of these S Club groups, were the only group that had a certain demographic, and their demographic was for children. Making kids for music is more marketable for these groups because, of course, they are children and children deserve to listen to good, easy listening music for their age range, instead of music that's too inappropriate for them. That is one of the reasons why Kids Bop is a big thing, because the franchise was firstly made to make current chart topping music more age appropriate for children, having children cover the songs and making it child friendly. Although in Kids Bop the franchise is pretty much like Disney Channel, where they often replace the members with different kids once they grow up. Meanwhile, with S Club 7 and S Club Kids Juniors, whatever they're called, both groups have aged now of the young teen, early 20s age, so they aren't relatable to kid-friendly demographics. Meanwhile, boy bands and girl bands, their audience normally grows with them. One example is Girls Aloud. I went to see Girls Aloud live in concert last year in Sheffield, and there were still little kids going to see them, and this wasn't influenced by their parents. The children actually were fans of Girls Aloud, and I think that's because they make music for all ages and their music is timeless. Same with Little Mix and One Direction. Marketing and branding. Another issue why mixed groups are not a thing anymore is, of course, the struggle to market and brand themselves due to not having a clear identity as a whole. S Club 7 and Steps were easier to be marketed because of the timing, such as in the late 90s/early 2000s was during the Y2K era, so many individuals were super excited about the technology boom and how society can change for the better, solve world issues together, which gave so much hope for the future. That is why their music was so fun, enjoyable and digestible, because of the relatability they had. Until 9/11 happened, we started to see a more moodier approach, and that's when the Black Eyed Peas came along with their hit single Where Is the Love, which is a song asking for world peace stopping wars happening and all over the world and etc. And I just love that song. Plus, back in the 2000s, we had like the dirty, moody aesthetic, and the Black Eyed Peas did that so well. Oh my gosh, I had the Black Eyed Peas playing in my car when I was a kid all the time. And obviously, I wasn't driving, by the way, because I was like 4. Musical styles. Another reason why mixed groups aren't popular anymore in the mainstream is due to different musical styles. Like with boy bands and girl bands, both of these groups often have their own distinct musical styles, such as pop, rock, or R&B. Meanwhile, with mixed groups, they either offer a wide range of styles blended together, which is harder to categorize which genre, making it harder to promote them to a specific audience. Chemistry and dynamics. It is known for a fact that in many mixed groups, we've seen in the past have had their fair shares of dramas that have affected the overall dynamic and chemistry of the group altogether. This is mostly notable where two of the opposite genders may start a relationship with each other, and once the relationship between those two individuals breaks down, this changes the overall dynamic of the group itself. For example, ABBA were known to be married to each other or dating, I'm not sure, and eventually this changed the dynamic for the whole group altogether. This can affect the fans' preferences of each member because of the dynamics aren't straightforward like they are with girl bands and boy bands. For example, fans could hate the woman in the band because they are dating their fave that's a male, and if that makes sense, this could lead to tension between fans and the group as well, and to be honest, probably a lot of misogyny happening. Lastly, are mixed groups still able to make a comeback in the 2020s? Mixed groups coming back into the 2020s decade would be so interesting and fun to see in the charts due to the political pressures the government are making that are putting men and women against each other. A mixed band could potentially bring society closer together, and I would love to see that because there's so much misogyny happening in the news around. One reason I could see mixed groups making a comeback into the mainstream is if they come together as a band together organically, that isn't from a manufactured television show, because they are more aware of the musical direction they are going into, unlike manufactured groups. That is probably why both of the mixed groups from Little Mix Research didn't even end up staying together, because of the musical differences they all had. By the way, I have made a whole video on Little Mix Research, so check it out because I enjoyed making that video. That was a fun video and it took ages to edit. I feel like the only manufactured way that a mixed group could become successful is if a huge K-pop company decided to make a global mixed group like they did with Cat's Eye, that included individuals from different cultures, races, different genders as well, because K-pop companies have the biggest amount of profit and impact to invest in the music industry right now. That can further introduce the public that mixed groups aren't dead anymore. Thank you so much for watching this video. I certainly enjoyed researching and making this one. Please let me know what you think of mixed groups, and do you think they could make a comeback and a return soon? Until then, bye.